maybe one Quantum Riddler is just the move. I feel like the first Riddler is just always so insane to draw. I think there's room for it now. I think Riddler is probably the best thing. How come I'm not on Daybreak account today? I usually only play on Daybreak accounts when the set has just come out, so that I have access to the cards. And the set has not just come out. Sometimes I'll switch to the Daybreak account midstream so that I can speed things up. Are we gonna test the Conjurers too? No, the Conjurer build would be like mono blue with the Moxen and Emery and Tabio. That's you wouldn't play it in this build. You'd only play it in that build, in my think. Because you need Mox Ambers as for that loop to make sense. Mox Ambers and Oracle, I think. Okay, so let's just go ahead and I think that it's to me it seems that the Ballista is better, so I think let's just go ahead and get the right tech in there. I would like to see mono blue you build today. Yeah, we might do that. I think that this build is also super exciting. The mono blue build sounds really exciting too. So, you know, this far post set release, it's good to have a lot of exciting new stuff still. Been loving the Avatar set. Good enough. Maybe a little slow on the draw, we'll see. The draw against a Bloodstained Mire. I like the mono blue one Shitong build the Steve played. Yeah, if you want to link it, I'll take a look. I haven't seen it. I was trying to mess with one that was playing like Sunken Citadel and Enigma Jewel and like Urza Saga alongside like the field effects. Kind of like the Kappa Cannoneer control deck we used to play. Alright, on the draw against Prowess is tough. I thought the wand control build was fine yesterday. I'm glad that Gab is still working on wand too. They do keep a card on top with the Preordain. It's kind of funny how the Ballista comes back around. I think it's just like so much better with this new build. It was like really bad in our draft a couple seasons ago. Alright, this is going to be Delirium for them. Maybe it's right to play Cauldron this turn. Our draw is pretty tough. We need like a looting so badly. Okay, there's a looting. So I think I want to play the Proft, so that this way I have the highest chance. Because what I could do next turn is I can go looting, discard, Fatestitcher, Fatestitcher. Looting, discard, Fatestitcher, Fatestitcher. Call, and I need to draw Vivi, but if I draw Vivi, then I can go Unearth, Fatestitcher, untap the land, and then Cauldron the Vivi onto Fatestitcher and start to make a bunch of mana with the Profts. And so like the Profts this turn gives me the most mana. Interesting. Gab loves these mono blue control decks. Only 3 sinks is probably wrong. I don't know. Not the biggest deal. I know Gab loves these decks. Cool build for sure. Any brew with Mole Cub plus Stitcher. Not yet. I've been liking the Fatestitcher stuff lately though. Yeah, if we have a Vivi in the top 3, we could try to win the game. Which is fun to be able to win the game from a board where you just have a Profts in play. It's cool that this is a possibility. It's cool that the Fatestitcher is kind of like a 0 mana creature here. Although we don't find anything. So I guess now we just go discard 1/2 and cast the Cauldron and pass. We could maybe take them off Delirium. The thing is, they just can't have. How could we possibly be alive when they've had double Preordain and all these surveils? Just like impossible. But we'll make him kill us. All right, that'll do it. Even if we get them off delirium, we're dead. Game 3. Okay, so game 2. Nothing really for the prowess matchup. I think we're okay to just try to fight through them. Play draw matters a lot. I do think prowess is probably a bad matchup overall. It would have been so sweet to draw Vivi there, just see like what's possible with the like if you can kill turn 3 when you just play profs on turn 2. Like if that all of a sudden is in our range, it's like such a big deal. Does Fire Magic do anything? Well, it does have text on it, but it's usually not a card I think is very good against prowess. Just mostly a Boros card for me. I like that just like with the Fire Magics, like you have Fire Magic plus Cauldron, which is usually just pretty good against a Boros. Usually from the Boros matchup was pretty solid. How would you be able to get Vivi in play or in the graveyard? So I had looting in my hand, right? So I started with just profs. So what I could do is I could go cast looting, discard Vivi Fatestitcher, Fatestitcher, untap a land. So the Fatestitcher costs 0 mana because to get a creature in play, because you just go Fatestitcher, untap a land. And then with that 2 mana, I cast the Cauldron that was in my hand. Cauldron the Vivi onto the Fatestitcher. Then I go to my combat phase and trigger the Profs, which has at least 2 triggers on it, because I've drawn 2 cards with the looting. So all of a sudden, my Fatestitcher is making 4 mana, and at that point, I can start to like churn through my deck a little bit and get some stuff going. That's the idea at least. What are my thoughts on Daybreak accounts can play challenges? I mean, haven't they always been able to? Did something change? So like the way it used to be is you could play, like you couldn't keep any of the prizes, which seems totally fine. I think in general, you know, Magic Online seems to be struggling so much this last year that anything that's bringing promotion to the client and tools for people to make content with the this 25-year-old client or however old is good for the game. Certainly biased. I guess I play around mutagenic growth. Kind of not exactly a free attack, because maybe I wouldn't want to attack into one. I think it's Fatestitcher and then also discard Winternight Stories. I know we're kind of Gran-Gran flooded here, but I think I also just want these cards in the yard more than I want to loot away the grandmas. We also might play all through this game. Hoping we find a Cauldron to do the Cauldron Fatestitcher thing. Okay, nice. Very nice. They're going to fix right over into Cauldron. That's great, yeah. Yeah, I still feel pretty bad about that last chance qualifier. I don't know that I would have won that game, but it would have been like pretty competitive if that had worked. Okay, so next turn I could go Cauldron Fatestitcher, and then I can go untap the Cauldron with the Gran-Gran, and then I can tap the Cauldron again to put a counter on the FOMO. And then I can loop my entire deck. It's good. I can loop my entire deck, and I should have enough cards to be able to go cast Marauding Mako, get the Marauding Mako big enough that then my last untaps Cauldron, and I Cauldron the Ballista onto the Shark. So this should be a win next turn. Very cool that this is like this is a turn 3 infinite win without the presence of Vivi. That's something that is very exciting to me as someone who's worked a lot on this archetype in Modern. I would be more excited if my opponent would take their turn, but that's okay. They can take their time. It's not infinite. Yeah, it's not infinite because we're bound by the amount of cards in our deck. So we need to draw a Marauding Mako before there's like enough cards in our deck equal to their life total. So it's very likely to win the game, but not truly infinite. After some deliberation, my opponent decides to attack, and then they plot a Slickshot Show Off, and they pass. So we should be winning the game here, thankfully. There's. I guess we also need to draw a land. Okay, so let's go Cauldron. Cauldron the Fatestitcher. I think it's our first time doing this on stream. Figured this out myself. Probably this one first. So we just Cauldron the Street Wraith here. I guess it was better to Cauldron the Ballista now. It's like a little bit more obvious what we're doing. Okay, so let's go always yes. Always yield. I'm a little bit worried about, I guess saving targets would be fine. Always yield. Always yes, always yield. Now we need to draw a red source for the shark. Great, so we'll go discard the looting. Play Steam Vents. Great suggestion on the Ballista attack. So now the shark is going to become big enough that we will use our we're going to use our last untap to Cauldron the Ballista. The best grandma in Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I was really excited for this today. I woke up after last night's prelim didn't fire. I was going to record a prelim for YouTube, and then I was like, is today going to be Yogg Day like I planned? Because I was so excited for this. So I'm glad that we're doing this instead. I was not getting what the kill condition. Yeah, GG. Sorry about the mutes. I need to get a new audio interface, but thankfully we've identified that's the problem, and unplugging, replugging seems to be fixing it. Okay, game 3 on the draw. Think it bodes well for the deck. We can get that kind of curve out. Yeah, you just have like a lot more turn 3 wins, in addition to like more card selection. Like the Gran-Gran Fatestitcher is really sick. It's nice also that you get to do Fatestitcher with Gran-Gran instead of having to play Springleaf Drum. I wasn't that excited about playing Springleaf Drum. Deck is mostly standard cards. Let's see. So, banned and standard. We have Looting, Arena of Glory is really big. Street Wraith is really big. Fatestitcher is really big. But yeah, it is mostly, I guess, with the Ballista too, right? It is mostly standard cards. Although they did ban this deck in standard. All right, on the draw, game 3 against Prowess gonna be kind of tough. I'm gonna keep this hand for sure. Oh, Props is also banned, huh? The turn 3 is kind of a lot of cards. You have other turn 3 wins with Vivi though. It's not. I mean, it's always Cauldron plus either this loop or like Marauding Mako plus Vivi. Do you have a way to give Gran-Gran haste? It's very tough to give Gran-Gran haste because she costs blue instead of red. Because of no Arena of Glory. So maybe we should have a Detective's Phoenix to give Gran-Gran haste sometimes. I could see that being good. But at the moment, we don't have a way. So they probably don't have land Steel Cutter if they played the Bobble last turn. Yeah, so we could play a we could play a Detective's Phoenix over the Riddler. I want to see how the Riddler plays first. It's not that, we also just have like other combos. Like we're not all in on this, which is nice too. I do like that Phoenix, also helps contribute to the aggro plan. Yeah, Haste FOMO, Haste Mako is pretty good. It's a little fragile, but Bear to Life for Fatestitcher, Magus of the Bazaar, and Devoted Druid. You get to dump your hand and mill twice that number of cards. For each creature you build this way, lets you untap the Cauldron. Each untap is another 2 mill cards, plus the initial toughness on Fatestitcher. Fatestitcher is pretty cool as far as the part of the loop. I think it makes a lot of sense. I feel like Magus and Devoted Druid probably won't be the best way to build this, but I think you're on the right path. Let me know if you come up with any other Buried Alive, Fatestitcher, Cauldron stuff, because that could be something. There's also like, I guess, can't you just go get Vivi, and then there's there's that weird card that Matt Nass had that combos with it. Tap, draw 2, pitch 3 isn't enough. Well, it's like, how are you winning the game from there is the thing. Because if your deck is like trying to win with like Vengevines or stuff, but your deck is just going to be worse than Oopsal spells and like as fragile. So I don't know. Maybe it's good enough, but it's like it seems like you're going to be worse Oopsal spells at that point. Like I feel like we could find a way that just actually wins the game without and without also having to have your whole deck be good when it's in the graveyard. That would be my hope, at least. So my opponent Surgical's Gran-Gran in response, which is kind of like a war crime, I think. Probably gonna play Cauldron this turn. I might be able to shrink the Oracle, and then it would be kind of nice to maybe get one more look at being able to discard Vivi to this FOMO. There's a bunch of lines that assume you have one piece. I'm trying to get one with just one Buried Alive, Priest of Fellrights, and Oracle. That could work. Yeah, I'll do some thinking on it too, because I do just think Buried Alive Fatestitcher is interesting with Cauldron. Was I thinking of Quicksilver Elemental as the weird card? Yes, Quicksilver Elemental. Thank you. So this is blue. This creature gains all activity abilities of another target creature at the end of turn. So yeah, this like continually lets you activate Vivi's ability over and over again. So Buried Alive for Narcomoeba, or sorry, not Narcomoeba, Fatestitcher, this card in Vivi lets you have infinite mana. If you have 4 mana and an untapped Cauldron. Infinite blue or red mana. Bad Rocker with the 52 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Because I really like that you get to go like Unearth Fatestitcher, Cauldron onto the Fatestitcher, untap the Cauldron again. I think it's pretty interesting. They only have one card in their hand here, thanks to the Surgical, I guess. They do keep a card on top. It's Channeler is so underrated. Like this card is what 1 mana. I have no bad draws the rest of the game. It's so sick. All right, let's exile the Preordain. With a few legendaries, this deck has any consideration for like 1 Mox Amber. I did consider Mox Amber. Mox Amber doesn't let you cast Marco Sharko as part of the loop, which is, if it did, it'd be way better, I think. There is going to be a Mox Amber build. We have a Mox Amber mono blue Cauldron build idea that we're going to try to work on. All right, so I guess we go Marauding Mako. And then I'm going to cast the Fear of Missing Out. If they have Dart for the Shark, we can Street Wraith in response. Now, I'm not sure if I'm discarding Cauldron or discarding Winternight Stories. I guess I'll discard the Cauldron. Well, I mean, I'm happy to see Vivi. Just like if this was one card deeper in the deck, it would have been so much better for us. One creature in play with Cauldron means you don't need the 4th mana. Oh, right. That's right, of course, because you just untap the Cauldron and then you Cauldron the Vivi. That's a part of the loop. Without interaction, Gran-Gran Cauldron Buried Alive is GG. Yeah. I know that like it's really easy for Cauldron Buried Alive to be lethal if you just have another creature. The problem is I just don't like the 1 into 2 into 3 and hope my opponent does nothing. I really just need Cauldron into Buried Alive. Just those 2 cards need to be a win together for me to be interested. That was my problem with all those Matt Nass builds. Okay, they fetch the card they kept on top away, and then they keep a different card on top with the Thundering Falls. They cast a Monastery Swiftspear. Buried Alive, Fatestitcher, Arcanist. The opponent is 6 cards for 3 mana. Is that anything? It's not nothing, but again, I just feel like however we end up here, I'm really interested in the game being over because it's just so fragile. They drew it through bubble. Oh, sorry, I see. So we can Street Wraith and then Cauldron the Wraith to have the FOMO survive here. My opponent probably sees a creature on top, and they're like, I want this for Delirium, but then I get blown out by the Cauldron. So they say no, so let's go ahead and cycle the Wraith, trigger the Marauding Mako. Dead to another Bolt if that's their last card. Maybe the last card's Surgical? I guess Surgical will be really bad if their top card's a land, because then I'd have to chump block the Swiftspear with the Shark. So if they get Delirium here, we're kind of cooked. And I think that they are going to get Delirium. No, it's a Corey Steelcutter. And then they hit it off the shelf. Damn it. Very frustrating. We just literally need 1 more life point, and we're like so likely to win. Now we need to draw like Gran-Gran or Marauding Mako to like even have a chance. So close. Or like if they just not hit Delirium off this, although they're pretty likely to, of course. Let's see what we draw. Why did they keep Corey on top in the first place? Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Okay, I guess Fatestitcher can also do it. Potentially. So we want to go cast the Winternight. Vivi Haste lethal. Sure doesn't look lethal to me. Well, maybe I'm missing something. Alright, so 2 cards. Discard Fatestitcher and discard Vivi. Unearth the Fatestitcher. Might win anyways. Gonna be maybe close, maybe not. So right now I've drawn 3 cards, so if I cast Profs, I can draw 3. The problem is I need to get this Vivi in the yard, and I need to untap the Cauldron. I don't really see a way to do that though. I think I probably can't win. What's the best move? So I can make 2 mana with the Profs, or 2 mana cast Profs, and then I can make 1 mana with the Fatestitcher. But it doesn't seem like there would be ever any way for me to use that 1 mana to win the game. I can't flashback the Winternight. I guess I just have literally no other play besides cast the Profs. I guess if I draw Ballista, we could win. Okay. Untap Cauldron, make 3 mana. How do I make 3 mana by untapping the Cauldron? Because I would need to Cauldron Vivi again, but I don't have another Vivi in the yard. Can attack for 6. You could have played Vivi and removed Delirium. I could have just cast Vivi, I guess. And hope that they didn't surveil something good to the top. Which they didn't. Yeah, maybe, I guess that was just the line, probably. Well, let's keep this hand on the draw. Would be a lot better on the play. Like, if we had drawn a discard outlet for the Vivi, the second Vivi, then we could have Cauldron again, made a ton of mana, kept going, but maybe it was just better to play it slow there. The deck is looking really sweet, though, I think. Thank you, Matthew. Oh, that's right, they surgical Gran-Gran. My opponent did mold a 6 on the play. And then they don't push my Gran-Gran down the stairs. They didn't surveil end of turn either. There's probably very little reason to do that. Or to not do that. Kind of the only reason maybe would be that they have Harbinger of the Seas and they're not sure what they want to fetch for. So not very likely that that's the case, but just something that could happen. We want to play Cauldron main phase 1, so if they have Bowmaster, they don't just get to kill the Gran-Gran for freezies here. Obviously, they might counter it. Opponents have all been pretty slow today. Main deck consign. Everybody always feels so smart with a main deck consign. Might be the kind of game where we're just pretty interested in casting VV. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and go to combat. Come on, opponent, please. All right, they crack the fetch in response to the loot. They get. They're gonna consign my loot. Okay, never mind. Take your time, opponent. Take your time. Resolves. So what are they playing with? Double Delta, double consign, double snow-covered island. So I did actually bait the Harbinger of the Seas here pretty good, huh? Draw step stop has been added. Was Gab's mono blue deck playing consign? I don't remember seeing it in the main deck. Might have been because he was also playing Riddlers. I don't think he was playing main deck Harbinger though. Yeah, maybe a Vendilion click. All right, they bounced the Vivi here. Main phase. Kind of them just discarding a card again, though. Casting main phase 1, so if my opponent flares the Vivi, I can attack with Gran-Gran. Not that it would really matter much either way, right? But just strategically a reason to do it main phase 1. Didn't you say the Snow-Covered Island is mill? A lot of times, but Snow-Covered Island double consign isn't mill, right? A lot of times Snow-Covered Island is mill, though. So they got 3 cards in their hand. There's a Profts. I feel like Lord Revealed completely disappeared from Modern, which is scary to realize. I still play it a good amount of the time, I guess. Dude, these consigns have been... I mean, the consign of the Cauldron was good, but beyond that, these have been some awful consigns. Okay, so we get to win the game with the Cauldron loop, I guess? Cauldron Fatestitcher loop, I mean, assuming that this resolves. Did I run back the Martyr list after League Monday? No, it's tentatively the backup deck right now, although we have another brew we need to work on. Definitely a lot to be getting to at the moment. All right, so if you're not familiar with the little loop, let me show you. I guess we also just have profs to go off. We don't necessarily need the shark. But why don't we go ahead and untap the Cauldron. Spike, I think we'll get one of Pre-Modern League before it ends in 6 hours. Is there not going to be another... Is there not going to be another... Is Pre-Modern done after this? I'm not going to do it in 6 hours. Like, we're doing this instead, but... what's the loop? So yeah, so the loop for our friend Dr. Spectred and all the other first-timers here is you can Cauldron Fatestitcher to give all your creatures counters Fatestitcher ability. You could also just have just Gran-Gran and another Fatestitcher that does work too. And this allows you to loot through your entire deck. And so once you loot through your entire deck, there's a few different things you can do, obviously. But the main thing that you're going to want to do is, let me say, always yes, always yield. The main thing that you're going to want to do is find a Marauding Mako or a Proft's Idyllic Memory, and then untap your Cauldron, which we already did, to get Walking Ballista's ability. Walking Ballista's ability to win the game. So let me go ahead and discard here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just make a red mana with Vivi and then cast the Shark. I guess I'll do this. Always yes, always yield. I'm a little bit scared of the always yes. I do enough misclicking on the stream as it is. I just need to I need to just be safe than sorry. Chat is wrong. Friendly League today gets replaced with Red League. Nice. Yeah, I think that I have my heart open to pre-modern, but regular modern is like, look what we're doing right now. You know, it's pretty tough for me to want to take a break when Avatar is just such like an insane set. All right, so always yes, always yield. Oh yeah, sorry. So we can always yes, always yield, but I don't want to save targets. Sorry, I don't want to save targets. Yeah, but it's really, once you get the always yes, always yield, it's really not that tough a combo to click through, I guess. We just need to find the Ballista. What's nice is even if they have a removal spell, the Profts gives me a second way to win the game with a big counter creature. I also think I just in general prefer higher power level formats than what pre-modern seems to be. It's just very cool to me that also like this deck can now win the game without needing to Cauldron Vivi. Like, how do you win? So we're going to find our one of Walking Ballista, and then our Marauding Mako, and then whatever we put counters with Profts will both be lethal. It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. 18 cards left in the deck. Here, I'll speed things up. Barely. I have seen Dingo's Granny Storm deck. To me, it looks like, unfortunately, clearly worse than the Arcane Twiddle deck. I did watch him play a little bit of it last night. You could win, which is good. I love that part, but it just didn't look too good overall. All right, I Cauldron Ballista. I target this, and you know what? Just for fun, let's let this props trigger go on. Although we already have, 31 counters. Well, dude, let's have Gran-Gran do the honors here. Now that's that's my grandma right here. I don't have the Arcane Twiddle deck. It's an old deck. Bryant Cook. If you type up like Bryant Cook Twiddle Storm, you could find it. I was kind of thinking about playing it because of Dingo's build and just kind of comparing the two. I might be wrong. The Lessons build might be better too. I certainly like that he started playing the Waterbend, draw 3, discard 1 instead of the Lesson that only does anything if your opponent has more cards in hand than you. That seemed like an upgrade to his deck. Okay, my opponent's had like mono blue control, maybe something similar to what Nassif was playing. Charmaw doesn't care about snow basics like Break the Ice does. Can you win if Ballista's the bottom card? Yeah, if it's the bottom card, you can still just Cauldron it. Yeah. I guess one issue with that would be if you need to tap Gran-Gran to untap your Cauldron. Like if so say let's say you have Marauding Mako and Gran-Gran as your last two creatures. If Ballista is literally your last card, and you tap you need to tap Gran-Gran to untap the Cauldron, then maybe it's a problem. Although no, it wouldn't be, because instead of untapping your Mako, you just untap the Cauldron with that, and then you would draw discard, tap Cauldron. But you just have to think about it. Dr. Lufu, 20 months, love all the mono content. Yeah, me too. I feel like it's just been so good lately. Like Avatar has been like, I love this set a lot. I really like the Edge of Eternities also. I can't actually even remember what the set before it was. Through the Omen Pass. That set, worst set of all time, I think. Worst standard set of all time. Actually, I do think that Edge of Eternities. No, sorry. Yeah, Edge of Eternity is my favorite Magic set ever, and I think that Through the Omen Paths / Spider-Man, my least favorite Magic set ever. Maybe MH3 is worse than. It's close. I'm gonna get a little greedy and keep this on the play. Oh, sorry, we're on the draw. Right. Yeah. Let's try it against this weird deck. Wait, are they Simic Ritual? They were Simic Ritual? Huh. I guess that makes sense. Don't really expect them to have Harbinger in their deck for game 3. Saying Spider-Man, Image 3 is worse than Spider-Man is a wild take. You could not mean that. I mean, Image 3 was... It took what I was... It took... It, you know, I'm like Jonah Jameson when it comes to MH3. Like, Modern was just a fine format that I was really liking. The Modern format pre-MH3. It was so good. And Nadu and the energy stuff and the Eldrazi stuff. It's just like, what the fuck was going on with MH3? There's some stuff I like from the set, obviously, but overall, like, there's just so many ideas that seem so poorly fleshed out, and so many ideas that, like, clearly should not have come to the format, even conceptually. I think, what a disaster. Is Wazzy done doing MH? We haven't heard anything about another one. I think, you know, I've done a good bit of reflecting on the topic, of course, and I've said this a few times. I think the only way an MH4 would be good would be if there was a similar environment to MH2, where like Modern was ruined due to a year of like horrible standard sets. From War of the Spark to Call Time, Modern was just like every single set. It was awfully just like ransacked. And so it's like, if there was ever an environment like that where everything was awful and they needed a hard reset button like that, I think that was a big part of what made MH2 so successful. But I think MH1 and MH3 were really unsuccessful. I think they were big net negatives on the format. And so I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think Modern needs a big reset button now. It's come through a long series of positive changes, in my opinion. So they do probably have some counter magic here. I think it's more important for my FOMO to resolve, so because I can discard Vivi potentially. So I'm gonna play Profs, although it would be nice to play FOMO first, then Profs to get like the extra combat step. But I'm just kind of baiting the counter spell. Didn't play as well around Force of Negation. Now they did pitch Force of Negation, so maybe they're gonna try to endurance block my shark, so we'll just not attack. What was Modern like before MH1? I wasn't playing a lot of Modern pre-MH1. I started streaming during MH1, so I kind of can't really remember, but it was like, it wasn't MH1, it wasn't as, the difference wasn't exactly the same as what I described, because it's like MH1, Throne of Eldraine, Ikora, Theros, like all of these sets came out around the same time, and all of them destroyed the format. Like every set just destroyed the format, and MH1 was one of the many sets that was destroying the format. It was very, very odd time. So I want to play around subtlety, I think, by hardcasting this. Although I'm very confused that my opponent just kind of did nothing there. Am I going to play the Modern Challenge in 7? Not today, not today. I'll play one tomorrow. Or maybe I'll play one tomorrow. Definitely Friday. I do owe you an allied challenge, but it's tough to start a challenge 2 hours into the stream, and then I'm streaming for 9 hours, and then I neglect my sweet wife. Okay, yeah, maybe they just pitch the Force kind of absent-mindedly. Maybe they have subtlety, though. Maybe they have Oculus? Not that that would have impacted the Force decision. Do they also do they only have one surveil? They must only have one surveil. My wife queue up for the challenge too. Yeah, maybe. You know what's funny about Esther is I've gotten her into so many things that like our interests have really grown to overlap. Like she's gotten me into a lot of musical artists that I otherwise would never have listened to. We've shown each other like TV shows we both liked. Okay, main phase of subtlety for the birthing ritual, good. Like recently we've both gotten into basketball really hard together. We got into hiking together. Like our hobbies have like grown together so well. D&D, like she plays the game that me and my friends are designing. But one thing that she's just never got, the one thing that our interests don't overlap with is Magic the Gathering, which is kind of funny. Which is fine. I think it's good for me to have that separation. She has like kind of learned how to play, and then she'll yell at me at random cards. Pre-match one was just Phoenix and Dredge everywhere. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like it was definitely like Hollow 1 2, like the Faithless Looting format. I already know she's piloted next when we've gone to the bathroom and listened to chess. That's right. Sometimes she'll do a Twitch Let's Play. Is your last card Surgical Extraction opponent? I guess not. I sure have like no creatures in my hand. Or sorry, no non-creatures in my hand to make casting this Vivi good. So I'll probably just go FOMO the Fatestitcher and then see what we draw. And then we'll play Gran-Gran if we don't draw anything. Not that there's really that much we could draw here. That's an interesting one. Dude, we could Fatestitcher on tap Arena of Glory. Not this turn, but in general, it's kind of fun. Maybe I want to not attack with the. Maybe I think I just want to flashback Winternight Stories. Actually, maybe this is silly. Maybe this is bad. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna attack for 5. I'll just play. They're just like so dead to combat. Let's not be too greedy. Change my mind. We also haste the Quantum Riddler off the arena next turn. There's a fun 4-color control list you'd like for standard. I'll take a look. I haven't been thinking too much about standard. I tried to watch some of Worlds. I got pretty bored, honestly. Hasty Ballista could deal 2x damage by swinging then pinging. That's true. They drew an Oculus? Force of Vigor by FOMO. I just saw that they boarded in Hercules Recall against me. It's not very good. Also, if my opponent just like, even if they put an Oculus into play, I could just go Fatestitcher, tap their blocker, attack. And if they don't put both their blockers, attack with both. So I don't really think there's any card my opponent can have. I guess I could get Endurance off the Subtlety to get rid of my Fatestitchers. I mean, we have so many cool things we could do when they're just dead to the Fatestitchers. Okay, I forgot how slow this opponent plays. I made a mistake cycling the Street Wraith. I should have just finished them. Although they were composing a sweet message for us. All right, put them down to 0 life points. Keep it this. I think with this build of this deck, you always play Gran-Gran turn 1. I don't know. This is a hand I think we should do it too. Maybe there are some hands like maybe if you have 2 sharks and a looting, you don't. We'll keep thinking about it. I don't want to just like mindlessly always turn 1 Gran-Gran, I guess. Basic mountain. Lightning bolt, so probably playing prowess. So they only have 3 bolts left in their deck, so getting this out of Lava Dart range could be pretty nice. We also had the possibility of drawing a Street Wraith to like bait another lightning bolt. That could have been interesting too. Kind of looking like this could be an aggro game. The goal is to Cauldron a Fatestitcher on a Gran-Gran for infinite loots. Yeah, and then you win the game with by making a gigantic shark with and then Ballista onto the shark. They do have the second bolt, which sucks. But you also just do the normal VV call. That's not like plan A necessarily, but it's nice to have that stuff. Like Gran-Gran does a lot of other stuff in the deck, and then so does Fatestitcher, which is fun. We did lose to Prowess in round 1. Game 3 was so close though. It was so close. Like if we had 1 more life point or they didn't get Delirium, it was like, oh, do they have Lava Dart? Well, my poor sharks, I guess. I'm assuming they're gonna flash back the dart here, although they may be stuck on mana. So we go down to 9. They've got 3 cards in their hand. They're all spells. We draw an Agatha's Soul Cauldron, so I guess I'll keep that. And just go cast Cauldron. I'm gonna target the Fatestitcher so that I can cast the FOMO also. Now they might Lava Dart me in response. Yeah. But then we get to Stone Rain them and they have all spells in their hands, so I think that's a fine outcome. Best roll? Maybe Gran-Gran. Mutagenic Growth, probably. Have I played Besiege plus Yogg plus Airship? I think it's too many 4-drops. And the black requirements are pretty tough. Dead to Bolt or Dart or Mutagenic Growth. Okay, that was on the list. Tough one. A very hard matchup to sideboard for, too. I think we just are trying to fight through. Game 2 on the play felt kind of good last time, and then on the draw was tough. Was close, though. Yeah, that second bolt was tough. What's Riddler in there for? Well, we have a flex spot at the moment. I think it should be a Riddler or Detective's Phoenix. It's just kind of like it's just a value card. And in theory, the first copy is going to be really good, and they're bad to draw in multiples. We drew it 1 time in a game. We couldn't lose under any situation. I don't think we've really drawn it outside of the loop where we draw our whole deck. Okay, let's keep this. I think this is a hand that wants to surveil turn 1 instead of casting the looting. So that way we could use the looting on turn 3 to go crazy with the profs. In fact, can we one-shot them on turn 3 with FOMO profs? So we can go profs turn 2 to play red removal on the FOMO and have them tap out. Then we go haste FOMO. Obviously, we need to have Delirium for this to work. And then we go looting, and so we'll have drawn 3 cards, and this will be 5, and then it'll attack for 5, and then it'll attack for 8. So 5 plus 8 is 13, which sometimes does kill Prowess, although they didn't shock turn 1. So a lot less likely. There's a Gran-Gran. Let's go to Graveyard for Delirium. And I've drawn a Vivi. So casting... I think because I only have the 1 creature... I'm going to go for this. Street Wraith might end up letting me have lethal, and I've got a lot of looks at the Street Wraith. And I really just cannot really afford to let this FOMO get bolted, although maybe they'll hold up a mana for bolt, and this will all be for naught. That's an interesting one. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just cast Vivi to try to get Bolt out of their hand to try to set up for the win next turn. And obviously, if they just don't have Lightning Bolts, we're in good shape. Yeah, Fire Magic is for energy. I do mostly like it over Pyroclasm, although I think it can be a conversation. They do keep a card on top. We could also die this turn. All right, so hopefully they play a 1-mana spell to tap out. Although, I guess we don't want it to be a creature because we don't want them to have a blocker. Interesting. They do keep a card on top. We draw a second FOMO. Second FOMO is very interesting. So the problem is I don't actually have Delirium. So I don't think I can play the second FOMO right now. No second spell is crazy. Well, they might just be holding a Bolt. Is the thing. So this is Delirium. And this is just lethal if they don't have a second Bolt. I think we probably just need to go for it here. Oh, nice. Yeah, so we attack for 4, or for 6, and then we attack for 10, and they're at a 16. Is Stock Up playable in Modern? Like instead of one Riddler? Riddler is better than Stock Up in this deck. Stock Up is too high on the curve, but Stock Up is playable in Modern. Riddler just draws so many extra cards in this deck. This is just definitely a Riddler deck. Well, my opponent is pausing here. If we get Vapor Snagged, it might be too much psychic damage for me to take. No. Okay, they surgical the FOMO to remove Delirium. If there are 4 more types in your graveyard. So this does... Okay, the trigger has gone on the stack. But I do think that this does check a second time. So I don't think we get to have the second FOMO. They put a Lightning Bolt in the graveyard, which is kind of crazy because that card is so close to killing me. Bummer. Not as bad as them having a Lightning Bolt, of course, but we don't get to win the game this turn. Opponent's got 3 cards in their hand. I'm at 11 life points. They have 2 types in the yard for Delirium. This is one of the best cards they could possibly have in their deck for us. They graveyard a Swift Spear. That's 1 more type for Delirium. Them graveyarding the Lightning Bolt makes me not very optimistic about being able to live here. Though this is also one of the best possible cards for us. Even if they find Delirium, this doesn't kill the FOMO. And they do not find Delirium, off the Surveil at least. A second Heat, I guess? Okay, so this triggers the Steel Cutter. I think even if they Surveil Dart in the yard, we don't die. Maybe we'd exactly die. They do find Delirium, so now my FOMO is dead. They have 8 damage, can put me down to 3. If I warp a Quantum Riddler... Although this probably makes things... Okay, I mean, we just win now. Cool game. So we draw 2 cards, and then we just get to Vivi the Cauldron the Vivi. Draw a bunch more cards. Oh, so I guess I don't know why I discarded 2 there. Doesn't really matter, I guess. They're currently dead. Let's just go ahead and win the game, I suppose. Good look for Riddler here. He was playing Stock Up and Gran-Gran. Total Storm look really good. Yeah, I thought Stock Up was good in that deck. I agree. Yeah, this used to be a deck in Standard. Well, I'm going to click the keep button. So this makes me kind of excited because I get to blank a Lava Dart if they have a Lava Dart. Obviously worse against Heat or Bolt. But I could also make both Sharks out of Bolt range next turn, maybe. Why couldn't it have been Lava Dart one time? Okay, no Bobble's good, obviously. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bigger priority for me to get the Shark out of Bolt range than it is going to be for me to play the Gran-Gran here. And then why don't we get a little greedy and try to save the Street Wraith to 2-for-1 them against Lightning Bolt. They have 4 cards in their hand after they play the Steam Vents. Scared of a show off, I guess. Yeah, there it is. Violent Urge with no Delirium. So that's not too scary. We get hit for 4 in the air. So they only have 2 cards left as well. Let's cycle the Wraith. Okay, that's an awesome draw. Flashback the Winternight Stories. I think I want to discard 2 cards so that I can Cauldron the Ballista for more. So I have 6 available pings. Definitely want to ping main phase because of all their mutagenic growths and prowess triggers and stuff. Two cards in their hand. Graveyard's a show off. And just passes. Pretty weak hand all over there. And they concede. Okay. Is Flame of Nor unplayable in the Riddler meta? I wouldn't call it unplayable. It's definitely not particularly good. Okay, we've seen what Fatestitcher plus Profts how it can possibly win turn 3, so I think I want to just lead on the looting here, try to find a Cauldron. I will say that Riddler is on the decline in Modern. It is still a big Modern staple, but it has, I think pretty notably over the last few days, decreased in popularity. Do you need double Fatestitcher under Cauldron to go in for the ground? You need one, and then you need one Fatestitcher under Cauldron and either another untapped creature or another Fatestitcher in the graveyard. The number of players in the league shows mode is not in a good place. Yeah, things have definitely been declining for Magic Online. Although maybe people are playing pre-modern, I'm not sure. It's possibly better to play Profts this turn. I think I'd like to be able to block the Ragavan though. Okay, so this is Jeskai, not Boros. Haven't seen a lot of Jeskai blink lately. They flip a Fatestitcher off the Ragavan, and then they play a Fable. Think I would like to just cast Vivi here. I like that it blocks the Ragavan. It does die to Flage, which fucking sucks here. Alright, so they flip a Scalding Tarn off the Ragavan. Thank you, Ragavan. I guess I should have... Sorry, I should have used Delta to get Island instead of Scalding Tarn last turn. They've got a Fun Raveler. They'll plus the Fun Raveler. Oh, they minus the Fun Raveler? Let's go. So let's cast Profs first to see if we get lucky enough to draw an Arena of Glory. Could still draw one here. Yeah, Dice of Flage is the 2025 Dice to Bolt. I think I want to keep the looting in hand. So what's nice about this spot is that the only way my opponent could kill, I guess they get a Prismatic Ending or another Teferi, but like Bolt or Flage doesn't kill me or the FOMO. Interesting that they attack with the Ragavan also. It's kind of a free block because this still doesn't die to Discharge or Flage. Like I feel like this was I guess if I get to they keep a Shaman in play. Guess that makes sense. So they have a second copy of Fable. We might be able to just win via Fatestitcher. Although we have a Cauldron now for our Vivi. But I could potentially try to just Fatestitcher tap two things. Let's go to cast the looting. There's a Ballista also. It's possible that Cauldron Ballista is going to be better than Cauldron Vivi here. Although we could do both if we Fatestitcher untap the Cauldron. Okay, so I've drawn two cards for the Profs. I think all roads kind of lead to Rome here, so I'm a little bit worried I'm taking too long on the decision. So this would be 7, and then we would tap one thing, and then it would be 8 with the Ballista. So we tap one thing, kill one thing, and then this goes from 8 down to 6. Hit them for 6, untap, attack for 8. They go to 3, then we ping them to death. Yeah, I mean, it seems I've left a lot of room for me to have miscounted here, so we lose to Solitude anyway, so why don't we just do this? We obviously we could go for Cauldron, Vivi, untap Cauldron, or with the Fatestitcher Cauldron Ballista too. The thing is, this is just much faster, so. And both lose to Solitude, so we'll just take the faster line that also loses to Solitude. Okay, so we're on the draw for game 2. Now, it used to be I would want to bring in the Force of Negations against blue-white control so that I'm better against, like, their Wrath Disguise. I think I do want some Force of Negations in this matchup, although maybe we don't. Maybe our deck is just fast enough that we kill immediately, that we don't need to be bringing in Force. I don't really want to cut Quantum Riddler. Yeah, I might need to rethink the forces in the sideboard, although they're so good in I like that he gets Eldrazi and Storm a lot. For some reason I really like Force against for several reasons. I like being my counter magic being Force against Tron and Eldrazi in this deck. Alright, let's go to game 2. This hand would be awesome if this was like any other land, I think. I would probably still keep, but maybe not a Surveil land. All right, this hand's not exactly awesome, but let's keep this. We'll put back second Cauldron, or put back second Profs. I think backup Cauldron's probably the best. All right, nice. Our Arena enters untapped. We can just go Surveil in here. Cauldron to exile Flage could be pretty nice. Profs Ballista could be nice here. Do definitely need a creature. We need it to stick, so that's not always the easiest thing to do. Okay, well, obviously we want to graveyard that, and then I guess we just play the Cauldron. So if my opponent goes, if they go Flage or Felia Riddler, then we can go Cauldron Ballista, Cauldron the Vivi end of turn, or maybe we need to save the Vivi in the yard to Cauldron, since there won't be anything else. Okay, this is not so scary, although they could have Solitude. They get an extra Shaman token. So I've drawn a Faithless Looting. Let's go ahead and start off. I might want to. I might want to haste. Let me cast the looting. My head hurts from drawing. Mark and Faitestitcher makes my head hurt here. So I guess now I'm supposed to discard the Ballista, discard the second Cauldron or the second Proft. So I go this, and then I go cast the Shark, Cauldron the VV here onto the Shark, use the Shark's mana to cast the Profts. So let's do this and just see if they have got Solitude. All right, so counters here. And then I go Fatestitcher, untap the Cauldron, Cauldron the Ballista. And then I guess I Cauldron onto the Fatestitcher so I can make 2 more mana. Although, what would I do with that 2 mana? Would I cycle Marauding Mako? It does feel really important for me to have another creature in hand. I guess I'll cycle the Profts here. All right, pass. So maybe kind of cool to Wrath the Skies with this draw. Let me know if there was a different line you saw. I think I think this was the best line from what I could tell. What was available to us here. But it discards a Damping Sphere. They play a Flooded Strand. Maybe we could just kill a Shaman token here. I think I'll just go block. This does mean if I block, I can't use the counters from the Shark. It's probably not that different though. Oh, yeah, okay. I was F6'd or yielded for no reason, so I could have killed these or one of these. We'll see how much that matters. Kind of embarrassing. Don't think I'm hasting the Shark here. Probably would be okay. Three cards in their hand. I love when players have no idea what they're doing, so they board in Damping Sphere. I don't know if it's bad or good here. It's definitely not the worst ever, though. No! Stupid yield to all. I should have made 2 mana. Sorry. I didn't mean to yield to all. That's okay, I guess. I would have cycled the Profs. I don't think it's really gonna be that different this specific game though. Looking for a Flage. They do keep a card on top, but they don't find the Flage. They make a lot of treasures. I get hit for a bunch, and then we go to 6, and then we draw Street Wraith. Let's cycle that. Sacrifice this. I do still have the island in my deck. So I don't need to... I could tap the Cauldron now to get an extra counter. I could save it to maybe Vivi again. I think it's probably better to get the extra counter. I'll have 2 activations available. So I just want the extra mana this turn, probably. Alright, so we'll go... activate one of the VV abilities first. I mean, that's all we can really do. I guess we can add a counter if we brick here. Or if we find nothing. That's more than nothing. So now we have 5 mana. I'm going to leave a blue and a red floating. This is 5 counters. Think about the backup creature. So this is 6 counters. I need 8 counters to kill them here. Or kill this other stuff. I could leave them with just a shaman token, though. Let's flash back the Winternight Stories. This will be 7 counters. I guess, is this... Maybe this is just worse than going... Ping, ping, just have this as a blocker. I can still kill 2 things at instant speed and not die, and I have the Gran-Gran without Summoning Sickness, which is pretty relevant with the Fatestitcher loop. They're hasting something. Quantum Riddler, which I can't block. Damn. Okay, game 3. So we did take 2 or 4 extra damage off the treasure token or the shaman token. So we might have been able to win that if I blocked there. The thing is, like, it was so weird for them to attack and then Galvanic Discharge my blocker after they attacked. It's like, I guess no, it's not weird because that way they get the attack triggers. Okay, never mind. No, that made sense. For some reason, I just thought if they would attack with the shamans, they weren't going to kill the shark, so I could F6 and block. You can get infinite mana Plague One, Devoted Druid, Fatestitcher, Grim, Poppet, or Morsel Hoarder. Okay, I mean, those just remove counters. I'll take a look at that stuff tonight for sure. Is this deck hard to follow? I feel like it might be hard to follow. I'm doing my best to try to explain the lines. Okay, on the play. Mulligan. They kept 7. Interesting draw. Let's go ahead and lead on the profs, I think. They can consign the Cauldron. FOMO good here, of course. They surveil a card to the top. So we'll play the Fear of Missing Out, discarding a Fatestitcher if it resolves. Not the best draw. Kind of a clunky hand here. Looks like they do have Felia, probably. They do have Felia. We do have a blocker for the Felia. They're going to combat. I mean, they're not going to flicker my FOMO, are they? Maybe they are, and maybe they'll consign it on the comeback. They have a 3rd land. Okay, cool. Get a little tied up here, I guess. Let's cast the Cauldron. Well, let's see if they have anything to combo with the Felia. I know there's world of nuance with this idea. Are there any specific tipping points to decide whether to picture a mediocre 7 opener? I mean, the biggest thing is like matchup knowledge. Like you keep a lot of mediocre 7s against stuff like Jeskai, because your mulligans punish you so much, and then you can't really afford to do that in more grindy matchups. I guess I play Shark this turn. Cost with 39 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I get also like, you know, oh, okay. Happy enough with that. I guess they could just Felia it away though. Another thing would be if your matchup is really good, keeping mediocre 7s in general is going to be a smart thing for you to do, since on average you're going to win the matchup. I think I might want to. So I can cast Ballista, put a counter on it. Is this the best against Solitude? I can also go Fatestitcher on tap of land, Ballista on 0, Cauldron, Ballista. Both get got by Solitude. I think I'd rather do. I'm not sure. I guess one thing that's nice about playing the Cauldron is I just have Cauldron in play for next turn, which seems like it could. Yeah, that's probably just the move then. Thanks again, Kosk, for the 39. The Islet pretty punishing this game too. They both get out by Solitudes to the line that uses less resources. I think it's the line that puts us more ahead on board is the attitude I want to have. So I waited for this trigger to happen so that if they did Solitude, I would gain one more life. Doesn't seem like they have anything. Let me know what you would have done. This was definitely a weird turn. They do get a basic plains end of turn. Maybe they have Wrath. They have 3 cards after this. They play their land first. Maybe a Quantum Riddler. Wrath, store some energy. Okay, so this kind of implies they have a second Wrath. This line was not so good against that, although of all the things they could have had, that might have been like the best thing for us. I'm gonna cast a Vivi. Could maybe be better to cast Winternight. They've got no pressure. I think it's a kind of cast Vivi board state. Maybe this is bad against Discharge. I feel like another Wrath is kind of likely. Okay, here's a Solitude. Maybe they had Solitude last turn. I don't know. Tap Sacred Foundry, 1 card in their hand. Life total getting real low. Spider-Man. Drawing the extra Winternight Stories here does really suck, honestly. Yeah, just so, like, card draw flooded, I guess. Let's get a VV in the yard. Need them to have nothing, and then I don't even know what... I guess we're looking to draw, like, Fear of Missing Out to block the Solitude. It's just... The draws have been kind of awkward this game. I wonder if this was not a... If this was a... Spybuff could now if we would have won this game. I want to play one more full league, and I think with the time on the stream today, it's going to be difficult to play another full league if we play also one more match. So let's just go ahead and restart here. I'm liking the deck though. Like our losses have been like close. I feel like the